Okay, so welcome everybody. So this is lesson 14, and we're working on integrating multidimensional gifts. We're working on collective dimensions, and we're also working on another one. Where did I put it? Personal power and alignment. Okay, so let's just open the field if you guys want to just close your eyes. And so let's open a field of magic and miracles. Oh, sorry, hold on a second. Okay, let's call in our spirit teams and our alchemy teams. And let's open this field of magic and miracles, of blessings, love, and gratitude. We call in the infinite power, potential, and possibilities of the cosmic field and the now point of power. And we ask for divine and cosmic protection for our work, for our class, and for each one of us and the totality of our lives. And we ask for real world tangible results and a reality upgrade as appropriate for each one of us. So let's just imagine that the group, we're all standing together out in nature and just letting our roots sprout down out of our feet, going down into the rocks and the earth, all the way down to the core crystal of the earth. And they can wrap around that core crystal and draw up that pure crystalline earth energy, drawing it all the way up and letting it infuse our whole bodies, our whole consciousness, and the whole of our multidimensional matrix and triple aspects, filled with this grounding, pure crystalline earth energy. And then out of our crown chakra, our antennas can reach up through the sky and outer space until they reach the heart of the cosmos, wrapping around the heart of the cosmos and drawing that pure cosmic energy down, and bringing it into our heart, filling our bodies, filling our consciousness, our energy fields, filling our externals, filling our inner aspects, and filling all our timelines. And then we're just going to send a beam of green heart light out to everybody in the circle and just receive all that love that keeps us so connected, so harmonized as a group. And just notice these beams of green heart light form a sacred geometry of love, and we're just going to pop into that. It's our workspace. Okay. So we're just going to start with a quick correction, which is really useful for activating deep personal strength, to be you, to live your truth. You okay, Marsha?
Tony, have you recorded?
Yes. I have, haven't I?
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
No, thank you.
Sorry, excuse me.
No, it's good. I mean, it would be a disaster if I didn't record it, so it's worth checking. Cool, okay. So this is about activating deep personal strength to be you, to live your truth, to live your life, to face challenges, to engage with your growth, and to handle the world and sometimes some challenges that the world will offer us. So this relates also to the quality of courage, empowerment, alignment, coherence, clarity around who you are, what you're doing, supporting yourself, and just the general focus of your being. So it's called personal strength and alignment. And I'd like you to just test your level of strength and then your level of alignment. Hey, Chris, Roland. Can you guys just test your levels of strength and then your levels of alignment? This is personal strength, strength to face challenges, strength to make shifts. Just me, guys. Strength to live your purpose, strength to handle what comes your way. to be really strong and coherent, aligned. So you're testing your levels of strength, and then the second calibration is your level of alignment. It's not physical strength, it's sort of moral strength, personal strength, your will. It's strength to, okay, now I'm going to have to deal with this challenge. Now I'm going to have to face this. Now the world is changing. Now the economy is changing. So I'm going to have to be strong because I didn't have the comforts I had before. It's strength to navigate world change. It's strength to, yeah, okay. 75 and 90, great. Okay. So I'm going to do the correction and let's just see if we all get up to 100. Marsha, 100, 90. Okay, you guys are pretty good. Okay, so teams, please upgrade our levels of strength and alignment from our current levels to 100% plus, 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 multidimensionally, through layers, levels, dimensions, timeframes, realities. Please activate and anchor this new strength and alignment through our whole multidimensional matrix and triple aspects. Thank you, it's done. Okay, so just verify that. Just see if everybody got up to 100, 100. So obviously this is not a complex one, but let's say you get a client who's a little bit wobbly. And you can also do this strength and alignment in the area of their health. So if they're coming to you with a health issue, maybe their strength to kind of heal or their alignment to heal is not there, or strength and alignment in the area of money, or strength and alignment in the area of relationships. So all of our work can always be applied in general and in specific life areas. So this is for you just to kind of strengthen us all. And then and also to work with different life areas and obviously for clients. So I think it came through for me when I was dealing with these people who were buying my house and they changed the week. So I was moving a week earlier and it was just like, not again, all this trauma. And I just thought, well, I'm feeling a bit wobbly. Let me just check my level of strength and alignment. And it wasn't 100, 100 before I did the correction. So. Okay, is everybody at 100 now?
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure what exactly the alignment means.
Being lined up in your being lined up in your center, being, you know what it looks like when you see somebody who's just really coherent. It's like they're coherent, they're strong in their health, they're strong in their direction, they're modeling a kind of they're unified, they're aligned to themselves, they're aligned to their purpose. Okay, does that make sense? Can you kind of feel what that feels like? Yeah, like a kind of a clarity of being. Like, look at this person. There's a lot of clarity in them. They're not all over the place. They're quite coherent. Things are going really well for them in many different life areas. This kind of, they're lined up. They've got kind of a strength to themselves. And so, well, here's the thing. When we go through trauma, that strength and alignment can get knocked out. And then here you are trying to get yourself back or trying to resolve a situation, but you're not really lined up because you've gotten knocked out. So this helps you get solid for what you need to face, for challenges, for the healing process, for a shift in who you are, just to be really like that. Okay, thank you. Great, okay. Okay, now something a little bit more complex, a little bit more interesting. Okay, so this is called collective dimensions, and this is about the reality we inhabit and our relationship to life. So currently on this planet, according to my teams, there are 7 collective dimensions which coexist but are different types of frequency bands within which very different experiences take place. So each of us exists within our own dimension of reality, but we're able to perceive these other 7 dimensions. So the people in our lives tend to be in the same frequency band, generally. It doesn't mean that if we're in a high frequency band, we can't perceive those that are in a lower frequency band. On Earth, these seven frequency bands are perceivable, basically. We can see them, but we'll tend to interact with people who have the same kind of resonance as us. And if we significantly shift up, we may lose touch with that old bandwidth, and they'll still exist, but our interactions will be much less than before, or maybe even come to an end. So, and yeah, there's a correlation between your personal frequency and your level of consciousness and the collective dimension in which we exist. So shift up comes from an elevation in our consciousness, and a drop down comes through trauma. So either it's an external trauma, like if something traumatizes us, like we have an accident, or we're suddenly in a war, or we're living at home with our parents and things get violent, or we get abandoned, or we have a breakup. So these are external traumas that are going to have an impact on us, which could shift us down. Or we could also shift down if we engage with lower frequency activities or low frequency focus, like drugs or violence, or low consciousness activities like low frequency movies or media, or low frequency relationships, and so on. So there are higher levels than these 7, but at this time on the planet, humanity's journey is taking place within these 7 frequency bands. And these frequency bands, the names that the teams gave me, are hell, toxic, numb. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to explain them. I'll just read you the names now. So we've got hell at the bottom, then toxic, then numb, then indifferent, then positive, then loving, and then new earth. So if we're in the hell one, we are living through war, we're living through genocide, we're living through ethnic cleansing, we're living through systemic violence, we're living in an environment of death, of destruction, of lies, of toxicity, of dark forces, of manipulation, of mass censorship, of fear, of terror, and suffering. So can you guys, the hell frequency bandwidth, can you guys give me some examples?
Every day on the news
Yeah,
is manipulation, is fear-mongering.
very true, very true.
Certainly.
But yeah, but obviously wherever there's war on the planet,
Absolutely.
that is the hell frequency. That is that frequency. The next one is toxic. So we're talking about violence, theft, drama, trauma, creating trauma, pain, suffering, poverty consciousness, loss, grief, shame, suppression. So how can we give some examples about how that would be different from the hell frequency band?
As cliche as it sounds like my ex-mother-in-law.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
Really toxic, like victim mentality, could not stand being out-victimed by other people.
Right.
Loved drama, instilled drama to get attention, created almost chaos around her if she wasn't the focus of everything. If that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Okay.
We could see this in a lot of school situations. I think for me, one of the sort of differences between hell and toxic would be that, I mean, hell, all hell breaks loose, Gaza, Ukraine, and many other situations in the world. in schools, it's hidden. So you have a kind of sheen of respectability. And so, in fact, when you look at it from a distance, you don't actually see anything. In fact, you may see the pillars of society, but within that, there is real suffering. And I think part of the toxicity of this is the fact that there is a kind of mask of invisibility. It's like kind of Harry Potter invisibility cloak, which kind of goes over these areas, and so renders them slightly invisible, and yet they are there. And so going into that in more depth, you begin to understand what is actually playing out, and it's a very particular thing.
Actually, Pete, thank you for saying that, because I would say that the toxic would be our politicians. And so I want you to know that you are free to add more words than just what I channeled through, and you are free to add more examples. But because of what Pete said, I put poverty consciousness, but I realized as you were saying it, when you said the cloak of respectability or something like that, I was like, I was seeing the House of Commons, I was seeing the governments. That is toxic. All the lies that the politicians on the front, it looks really proper and healthy. It ain't healthy at all. So you might want to add that to your, just in your notes, is like politicians or the entitled,
Yes.
the entitled. That is very toxic. Yeah. Or anyway, we're going to delve a little bit more into this. And anyway, the next level is numb. So there's kind of a numbness, a kind of a dismay, kind of suspicious, kind of cynical, kind of disappointed in life, low expectations for life and humanity. So like for me, I noticed that with my ex-partner from many years ago. He's a musician, and it's very cynical posts on Facebook about life, a kind of a disappointment and quite cynical. And I'm not saying these are bad people or anything like that. It's just a cynicism and a kind of can you guys think of any examples of this kind of numbness? Good people living lives, good lives, but kind of feeling maybe brutalized by the world and not having found a way to heal themselves, or not even having faith that they can heal themselves. So feeling just a bit like the world, dark around the world, and disappointed. Because I find examples very helpful myself. Marcia?
I don't know if this is numb or indifference. But the phrase I hear a lot is, what do you expect?
Right.
It's been going on for centuries.
Right.
Okay. So is that
Yeah.
they don't want to feel anything.
Exactly. And you could test if what you expect is numb or indifferent. So anyway, we'll discuss even a bit more. So the next one is indifferent. It's just, it's not quite so disappointed and cynical, but it's a little bit, I'm self-absorbed, unaffected by others, a bit cold, and basically shut down.
Okay.
Well, I would say that, with respect to the numbness, that often that, whereas indifference, I mean, people just don't see the issues. I mean, it's just that they don't see the thing. In the case of numbness, there is actually a sort of sense, that there is the rainbow over there. There is, and it is the wound actually that is bringing
Yes.
people to speak.
Yeah.
And so when they talk about the government, I mean, I can see that in elements of myself. You can talk about it, and there is a sense of despair, because we know that we can be better. We know that the politicians can do better. We know that we know that there are many politicians who are totally dedicated. They've given up their personal lives. They've done this for years. And yet, there is a system. So those sort of comments, actually, it's like connecting with our woundedness. And so when we speak about, you know, I'm always amazed by these amazing people who can just post, you know, I mean, you know, the world could be just going up shit creek and they've still managed to say, yeah, but, you know, we managed to save, you know, the lesser spotted beaver from the sort of, you know, this river system in Eurasia. And, you know, and you think, yeah, guys, but, you know, like, you know, and, you know, we sort of, you know, I'm listening sort of, you know, it's almost like The Wall by Pink Floyd, you know, with the whole thing sort of coming down on my head. And this guy is like hanging in there with this post about these sort of letter spotted beavers, you know, and I sort of, you know, I admire that, and at the same time, I'm not always capable of getting there, and I think that sort of, you know, the numbness and indifference is, you know, I mean, I'm sure it's a sort of transition that we feel, but I know that, and I'm sure that many people who experience that sort of dismay and suspicion, I mean, you know, they're holding on to it's like they're holding on by one, you know, one hand or three fingers before they fall
Yeah.
because they know that actually there is light up there and they know that there is a solution and they know that people are sort of, you know, there's this amazing goodness in people and yet they can't kind of grasp it and
I would say numb doesn't really have faith in human nature.
okay.
And then indifferent kind of is like a bit, I'm disinterested because I just don't want to, get into it. Like I've got a
Just
girlfriend
switched off.
who's a great social activist, and she was like totally disinterested in Gaza. And not that I think everybody has to be super interested in it, but it was like, hey, there's something very significant happening here. You know what I mean? And so it kind of surprised me. But then I do know her as being very kind of slightly numb and indifferent. So anyway, let's move to positive. So the positive one is somebody who's positive, who's hopeful, who's trusting, and who's got a lot more life force, a lot more alive. And then loving is somebody who's really got a more flow of love. They're more engaged. They're sending love to the world, just through, not necessarily in meditation or something, but just because they're doing something that they love or that they care about. You know, if it's like I'm baking and I'm selling my baked goods in the market, they're putting their love into the world and stuff. Or they're taking care of animals, or they're just doing something that they value. So they're putting love into the world. And then finally, the new earth, it's a new frequency of light. It's a new way of using consciousness to create a beautiful reality. So it's a new way of being multidimensional. It's a new level of empowerment. It's love, it's balance in all areas. It's a kind of an ease and trust and relaxation and flow and healthy all areas, healthy body, healthy finances, healthy, you know, relationships, healthy home, and so on. Now, within these different frequency bands, we can measure from 1 to 10. So what we're going to do is we are going to test. So you see these different levels. Hell I've put as 1, toxic 2, numb 3. So we're going to test ourselves. What frequency band are you in general? And again, you might be in a different frequency band with your health. Like your health might be toxic, but in general, you're new earth, which just sounds a bit strange, but we are multidimensional and it does kind of work that way. So we're just going to do the general calibrations for now. And I wanted you guys to test, first of all, what level you were born in. So you're looking from 1 to 7. And once you know if you were born in hell, then within the 7, go from 1 to 10. Don't go up to 3,000. Just tell your pendulum, just give me from 1 to 10. So then you're going to know I was born at 7-2 or 7-5. And then let's just share our calibrations of what we were born in. So just make sure you clear your board, clear your field, clear your pendulum, make sure you're testing clear. And then what level were you born in? Okay, so I was born 4-3 levels. Level 5. What do you mean 7 to 10? Level 5, 5-7?
Level 5, and then you said to test as to the degree within that
Yes.
from 1
Yeah.
to 10. So level 5, and then testing in 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay, so the calibration would be level 5-7, 5-7.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Angela?
Oh, sorry, Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the, it was 1 to, hell being 1.
1 to 10, so that you've got 7 levels to choose
Oh,
from.
yeah.
You want to find what level you were in, and then you want to test within that level between 1 and 10. How, well, you know, was I almost popping up to the next, or was
Oh, I
I?
see. So if it was tops, it would be 2, and then it would be, and then what level within that? Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you guys want to post your, I mean, if you feel like it, if you feel like posting. So I started off at a 4-3. So 4-3, that is indifferent. So Debbie 4-6. Yeah. Okay, everybody. So Scott 4-7, Cleona 6-8. Great. Marcia 7-6. Wow. Really good. 6-8. Sylvia, Debbie 4-6. 6, as you had a traumatic birth. Yeah, but I mean, just test if you're testing correctly. You know, if you're still a little being of light, then you're a little being of light. 6 and 8. 6-8. And Roland, what are you? Okay. So Roland, I'm waiting for you to post yours, but now I want you to test your current level. So I'm currently at 7-8, but obviously I've already done the correction on myself. So, okay, chat. 7-5, 7-5, good one, Cleona. Debbie 5-5, Scott 6-10, great. Seven, 8-10, there is no 8. Or maybe there is. Just verify your pendulum is testing correctly. Maybe it was a 7. Okay. So, like I said, this upgrade can also apply to life areas. Like if you'd like to just have a play while we're waiting around, if you have a vulnerable life area like your health or your finances, just test your current level in the area of health or finances, or the, you know, your vulnerable area. Did anybody get anything different when you worked on your life area? Four and 7, so that's Roland's one, is it? Is that Roland's current one? Yeah. 6-6 health, okay, great. Okay, my finances are low because I've had all of these traumas around my finances with 3 governments taking money, big sums of money from me. So I guess there's a lot of Yeah, it's in the 3, which is numb, which is about right. Okay, health, Sylvia, 3-9, there you go. Okay, so let me just see, can I do this correction for all? Okay, I can't do the correction, I can do it in general, but I can't do the correction for all the different levels, for all the group, all at the same time. So if you have a vulnerable area, like my money life area, or your health life area, do this correction for yourself where you raise the frequency of that life area as well to be in a new band. Okay, so we are going to do the correction. Okay, so we are going to call in the teams and we are going to open a crystalline matrix around ourselves and our whole multidimensional matrix and our whole life and triple aspects, all of it. So teams, please upgrade us from our current level to the highest and most appropriate collective dimension for our consciousness at this time, allowing for the possibility of even greater shifts as and when appropriate. And please do this safely and within the best time frame for us. Activate and anchor. Thank you. It's done. Okay, so now test yourselves. Yeah, we're testing our general. This correction was for the general because, okay, great. If it had gone into the specifics, we would have had to say in the area of money, in the area of health. But, you know, having seen this low calibration and knowing how it correlates with my experiences, I really would like to get to that new earth frequency. So do you guys have the sheet that the email that I sent you? I sent the email with all the corrections today, and so this one is called Collective Dimensions. So what I'd like us all to do now is just whatever your vulnerable area is, like me, the money, Sylvia with the health, I want you to test your level, and then I want you guys to just say the correction for yourself, and then we'll just retest that. So if it's health, if it's money, if it's relationship. And then do the correction, which obviously is very quick. And the only thing you'll add in the thing, teams, please upgrade my level from the level of whatever 3-4 in the area of. Just specify in your command, specify in the area of money, because you have to indicate to the teams what you're working on. So we'll just take a few minutes to do that.
Dominique, I think you're muted.
Oh, my word. Sorry. Thank you for pointing that out.
I wondered why I couldn't do it.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so what I was saying was ideally, it's such a quick correction. You test it very quickly and the correction takes 2 seconds, right? So ideally, you would do it for your body. You would do it for your money. You would do it for your relationships. Do it for your business. What's the frequency of your business? I just did it for my home and it came up at 2. So toxic, which I get it because there's been so much sort of ancestral trauma played out working through here, and then especially with the whole sale, that it's really in the toxic bandwidth. So it'd be very, very quick to run through them all. I mean, do we want to run through them all now? No. We'll see. Maybe we have time at the end. We'll see how we go. We want to do the next one, which is a little bit more detailed. So how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling comfy with the with it?
Yes.
I got quite a buzz from it when I did it. It felt like I could feel the energy of it. It felt really positive and buzzy. Okay, all right. So what we're gonna do now, our next piece. So you'll be testing, working with clients, and this may come up. It's like we need to bring this client into a new frequency band. And for yourself, you want to bring all your different aspects into the new earth frequency band. Okay, so now we're going to work on integrating multidimensional gifts. So here we are going to bring in and integrate all the gifts that have not yet been received from our ancestors, from our past lives, from our parallels, as well as karmic gifts. So these are going to be gifts of wisdom, of talent, of awareness, of soul growth, of skills, of resonance, like holding higher frequencies, of being able to manifest, and bringing in the frequencies of things that we have yet to master in this lifetime. So bringing in all those gifts. So what you're going to do, we're going to be doing a grid. So I'd like you to test how many life areas do you need to work on? Because, and I'm talking about money. Do you want to bring in gifts in the area of money, in the area of health, in the area of relationship, in the area of rejuvenation, in the area of beauty, in the area of your business, in the area of creativity, in the area of spirituality? So test the first thing. You're going to use a new page. You're going to test how many life areas do you need to bring in gifts to? And then you're going to make a grid, and it's got 5 columns. The first column is ancestral. These are going to be your ancestral gifts. The second one is past life, PL, past life gifts. So these are gifts that you had in a past life. The first one is gifts of the ancestors that you haven't integrated yet. The second one is gifts from your past lives. You might have been very talented or very abundant in a past life, and you haven't integrated that gift yet. The next one is your parallels. And then the last column is karmic gifts. So what's the difference between karmic gifts and past life gifts? Past life gifts are gifts of like, I was really abundant in a past life. So that's a gift that I had there, and I haven't really integrated that in this life. And a karmic gift is more like when my karma is resolved, then I get to have this kind of this gift. It's kind of, it flips it. I don't know if that explains it very well, but does that make sense to you? It's once the karma, once that little story, that little tangle with somebody is clear, then you get the gift of like, I don't know, freedom, or you get the gift of wisdom or compassion or understanding or sensitivity. Karmic gifts will usually be kind of an awareness that derived from a challenging experience with someone or some organization. So karmic gifts run more in the line of compassion, sensitivity, awareness. Now I can see what I did to them and I feel that. And that makes me much more compassionate. Therefore, I'm a much better healer like that. And then what you're going to do down this first column, which you left empty, is the difference. So if you got 9 things, you need to test what they are. So, you know, it's the usual culprits like money, health, rejuvenation, beauty, relationship, creativity, home, freedom, sovereignty. So however many you got, you're going to make those lines.
Can you read out the top list again, Dominique, please?
Yep, the first one is ancestral. So we're talking about column number 1 is blank because you'll put your different life areas down there. But column number 2 at the top is ancestral gifts. So they might have been great with money and you haven't integrated that gift yet. Column number 2 is past life, PL. Column number 3 is parallels, PAR. And column number 3 is karma, or just K. You know, these are the ones that we work with a lot because these are real core influences, right?
Got it. Okay.
And so we are going to test. So once you've put if you had 9 things, you've got to find those 9 life areas.
So which other life areas are there?
There's money, there's health, there's body, there's beauty, there's creativity, there's life purpose, there's communication, there's grounding, there's emotional intelligence, self-esteem, self-worth, sexuality, success, balance, nourishment, community, safety, home, happiness, positive emotions.
Yeah, do
Love.
both. You do.
Okay. Now, you guys are still working, aren't you? Okay, now why don't you test your frequency now? Just in this area, test your current frequency. Just so that we can get a calibration between now and when you integrate the gifts, just to see how much that, what's the level of potency of this receiving of gifts. Because when I did it, it was enormous. And I felt buzzed for quite a long time. So now, when you guys are ready and when you've done all your life areas, I want you to test. I want you to get the levels of how many ancestral gifts are still there for you to be integrated. Now, you wouldn't need to do this with a client, but this is for you to understand the work, really. So when let's say, if I go love, here on my chart, I want to test how many gifts from my ancestors of love have yet to be integrated? And how many past life gifts of love have I yet to integrate? And how many parallel gifts from my parallels around love are yet to be integrated? And how many karmic gifts around love are yet to, and I want you to get the levels because it's going to give you a sense of how much unintegrated stuff we generally have. So you will really understand this correction, even if with a client you just go straight to the integration. But also when we do these grids, it fleshes it out. It brings everything to the surface, and it's like, this is what we want to integrate. Might be gifts around power or empowerment or self-love. Go ahead.
What is this? So at the moment for the grid, the first one, whatever that is, we're testing how many gifts are we yet to receive. So the level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so not testing the low, but the actual what we're yet to receive. So whatever that is, 60%.
What so if it tells you, if I calibrated love, that was my first line, ancestral gift of love, it would tell me that my ancestors had a lot of experience around love, and I haven't integrated those gifts yet.
Yeah, so you can test whatever it was, 80% even.
And if it came up 80%, it'd be like, wow,
yeah,
there's a big story of love which I haven't yet brought into my experience yet. So this is going to give me a lot more awareness of love, whole vibration of love, knowing how to attract love.
Can we do it between 1 and 100 to make it like?
Yeah, I think it's good to do it between 1 and 100, just to set that parameter for your. Definitely just keep the parameter, fixed. Go ahead, Masha.
Dominique, could you explain the general frequency again, please? General, what is the percentage of gifts I'm able to receive?
That are available to you, that have not yet been received. Like, for example, with your ancestors, you will have received already a lot of gifts from your ancestors, but what is it that you have not yet received? This number is what we're bringing in gifts that have not yet been received.
And there's a general frequency measurement of that also.
Well, I mean, if you measure it from 1 to 100, let's say in the area of love, it's going to say on the ancestral level, there's still 50% like quite a good chunk of gifts around love that you haven't taken in. And money, it's 100%. So your ancestors had a lot of skills around money, and you haven't integrated that yet. So
Yeah.
what happens is when we do this correction, you take in so much gifts. I think when I did it, and I said, how much, what's the frequency of what I've just received? And it went up to like 9,000 or something, which I don't go up to those numbers usually. So it was really like, whoa, I've taken on a lot of like strength and power and knowledge. It's a big boost.
Okay. But was there a general frequency we're supposed to measure also?
Just generally go between 1 and general. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, just test your frequency now, just to see where you are, just so that at the end you can test where you are next, just to
I
get
see.
a before and after calibration.
Oh,
General.
I got it now. Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
I got
I
it.
wasn't, yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I've done this wrong or right. But I mean, I've tested for the number of gifts.
Oh, number of gifts.
The is that not right?
I guess just a different parameter, really.
Ah, okay. So I was getting
You
confused there. But what
you
I
could,
notice is that the number of gifts for parallel lives are huge.
wow, okay.
So I mean, in terms of the numbers, um, ancestral gifts are running between 3 and 14. Gifts from past lives between 1 and 11. Gifts from parallel lives between 5 and 30, but most of those figures, I mean, I got 5, 22, 12, 24, 30, 26. I mean, it's way above. I mean, all the karmic things are sort of between 6 and 9. So there's actually a huge difference, and I can see in my grid that I'm getting. There's a lot that should be coming through from parallel lives, which is very interesting. I mean, it's pretty freaky, to be honest.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's really interesting.
Because you could just do the correction and not do the grid, and you would very rarely do the grid with the client unless, well, you could test, but for us to really understand how this works, to understand the multidimensional nature of reality, it's like, oh, and then 5 gifts, that might be 90%. Some gifts might be really powerful gifts. So when you test the percentages, it tells you something else as well, right? Excuse me.
So I do the whole thing again, but with percentage for each of the 4 categories, yeah.
You could, yeah. And actually, having this conversation has just made me think that I need to add in another command. And the other command I want to add in there is keep running an opening to keep receiving the gifts. Because the ancestral gifts, I'm going to assume, but of course, time is multidimensional, right? So, ancestral gifts, we're going to assume that when we've taken in all the ancestral gifts, they've been taken in, as well as past lives, as well as karmic. But with the parallels, they are continually exploring things, and there might be more gifts. So I want to add a sentence, and I'll send this to you. I want to add a sentence to the command, which I wouldn't have done had you not brought this up, which is that we activate something within ourselves to keep on bringing in the gifts all beneficial gifts from the parallels. So let me just take a minute to formulate that sentence for a second. I'll do it and then I'll send it. So thank you, Pete. Okay.
Yeah, it's doubtless why I ended up sort of going down a rabbit hole.
No, it's brilliant. You know, this is a living system, right? It's kind of like it's continually expanding, and so you know, according to what we create together. So I'm going to type out the sentence that I wrote to add to the thing, but I will send you. I'm just going to send you the new correction. You guys let me know when you finished with your chart, and then I'll do the correction. Finished? Yeah. I'm gonna write the sentence into the chat so you can just see how I added. Get to receive 100%, bit less in ancestral, nothing in karma. Okay, yeah. Okay, so my new sentence is. So that is the sentence that I added to make sure it keeps on running in the future. So it's please allow I should say please allow all future beneficial gifts from all sources to be received and integrated continually. I will send you the whole page with this new sentence, so that when you print it out for your books, you'll have the updated one. So has everybody made their chart? And how many drop downs did you have? How many life areas did you have gifts to receive in? 7, 8, 8, Cleona, Scott, 7, yeah. Marsha, 10. Were there any surprises? Debbie, 6. Angela, you're nearly done. Were there any surprises, or were there any where it's like, oh my God, there's all these gifts in the area of money, or in your vulnerable areas, where there are like a lot of gifts to be received in your vulnerable areas? Yes. Okay. Christian, 7. Angela, yes. I'll be really interested to see how you feel when we do it and how it calibrates for you and if you get buzzy. Sovereignty, 100% from the parallels. Okay. So this is like a massive boost of support, of energy, of expansion, of gifts that are yours to be had, your multidimensional gifts that you just hadn't received yet. So, okay. Can I do the correction now for us? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the correction, and I'm going to say in the areas of, and I want you to just read your different life areas in your mind. I'll mute you guys. You can say them out loud.
1 second.
Okay. Yeah. Sylvia, what's so funny? What is it? What's so funny, Sylvia? Something's happened.
I was just looking at Christian's reply, and it looks like Roland is his gift.
Let's see. Oh, okay. You thought Roland is his gift. Okay, so 8 life areas. That's sweet. Okay. Angela, you ready? Okay. You know the numbers, it doesn't matter, Angela. You don't need to have everything finished. It's fine. So I'll leave the blank space and you guys will just read your things, right? So let's call in the teams. So I'd like you to be with me and I'd like you to focus on this. Let's just focus on it and call in your teams. This is an important, very influential one. Teams, we ask to please integrate all the gifts from our ancestors, all the gifts from our past lives, all the gifts from our parallels, and all karmic gifts in the areas of, and just read down your list or think of your list. All these areas that we've been filling in. And any areas not mentioned, which are beneficial to receive now. Teams, please allow all future beneficial gifts from all sources to be received and integrated continually. And please do this multidimensionally through all layers, all levels, all dimensions, all time frames, all universes, through time and space. Teams, please anchor these gifts into our inner earth level, into our earth level, into our subatomics, into our DNA. Please anchor these gifts into our cells, our bones, our blood, our organs, our hormones, our tissues, our fluids, all body parts, all body systems, all body functionality. Teams, please anchor all of these gifts into all of our chakras, all our meridians, all our nadis, and all energetic and electrical pathways within the body. Teams, please anchor all of these gifts into our mental body, into our emotional body, into our behavioral body. Teams, please anchor these gifts into our energy body, our light body, and our rainbow light body, and our soul. Teams, please anchor all of these gifts into our dimensions, our star level, our angelic level, and our source level, our galactic and our cosmic levels. Teams, please anchor all of these gifts into our body, our health, our beauty, our rejuvenation, and our sexuality. Please anchor these gifts into our relationship with ourself, with our friends and family, with our lovers, with our peers, our clients, with our community, with humanity as a whole, and with life itself. Please anchor these gifts into our money, our wealth, our prosperity, our abundance, our freedom, our sovereignty, our success, our creativity, our genius, our work, our purpose, our joy, our fun, our imagination, and all aspects of our 3D life. Teams, please bring in these gifts, anchoring them into our personality, our identity, and our ego. Please release all old identities, false identities that are not able to hold the frequency of these gifts and resonate with these gifts. Teams, please anchor these gifts into our inner child, our inner mother and father, these wise guardians, our inner critic and inner champion, our inner voice, our inner masculine and inner feminine, and our inner archetypes. Teams, please release and let go of any old inner archetypes that don't hold the frequency of this upgraded us that can carry these gifts. And teams, please recall all lost parts of ourselves that can now come back in because we hold this expanded consciousness, including cell parts, parts of our fragmented heart, or fragmented soul, bringing them back through divine filter and reintegrating them into the greater whole of who we are. Teams, please bring in these gifts into all our timelines, our past selves and past timelines, our present self and present selves and present timelines, our future selves and future timelines, and our conception, our womb time, and our birth. Please allow these gifts to be fully integrated and utilized for our expansion, our joy, and our purpose, and our well-being, and our abundance, and our freedom, and our happiness. Activate and anchor. Thank you. It's done. Okay. All right. So what we want to do now is we want to test how strong, how potent an energy boost we got from these gifts. So for me, it was 9,000 and I was buzzing. For you, it might be different. Well, it will be different. So a boost of 6,000. Okay. Are you feeling it energetically, Pete? Like even now, even though I'd already done the correction, for some reason I'm really vibrating a lot. And I think that's just because it's just made me feel the resonance of this gift. So are you feeling it
Yeah,
energetically?
what I'm feeling, which is interesting, is that It's actually kind of linked to deceptions.
How so?
So, for example, I was very lucky as a kid. I mean, I had lovely parents, and they were very good to us. And I mean, in terms of like gifts, I mean, if we just talk about birthdays and Christmases and times when they would give gifts, they were really amazing. I mean, it wasn't, it was modest, but it was really beautiful. And so there was a sort of sense of acceptation and presence of gifts in life. And then as I moved through adolescence, I mean, basically, you would work your ass out for something and you would just get completely burned off by someone else. Someone would cut you through. You would lose things, the things wouldn't work out. And it was like almost one was, I mean, I felt that, there was sort of cut off from gifts. And then there is almost the fear of expecting any good outcome because you basically know perfectly well that you can work your ass off and it doesn't matter a shit because basically somebody who knows somebody, basically they will go through and you will see what happens in the end. And so there was a sort of actually a kind of dissociation from any sort of sense of that kind of goodness and generosity and of looking after people and that sort of beneficence that I felt as a child. And
Mhm.
what I'm realizing is just how cut off I have been, and in not, even daring to anticipate because I know how much I can get hurt,
Mhm.
and so in the end, you don't expect, you don't hold out hope, so you kind of go through. I mean, that's where it takes you back down into the numbness.
Well,
Because,
exactly. When I was hearing that, and I was thinking, you've gone through a trauma and you got knocked down to a lower frequency
oh,
band.
I mean, but I mean, it's just been relentless.
Yeah, yeah,
And one of the things that always amazes me is that I'm still here smiling. I mean, some of the time, there are just so many. It is so relentless, and I mean, I'm not talking about. I mean, having gone through like having the roof of my house lifted off by a rocket or anything like that. I mean, many stuff, but it's still traumatic because we form trauma at whatever levels, and I have been blessed not to have been lived in a war zone. At the same time, I've been through stuff which has been as painful. I've been through evictions, lost my home. I found myself sleeping, in an office, not having anywhere to live. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I have kind of been through some shit, and those times
that's
where it really can kind of knock you very profoundly in terms of that sense of if the universe is just good and giving and kindness, that when you sort of you feel those doors shut, it can be very profound and it can really
yeah,
damage you inside. And it's
yeah.
really hard to come back from those places of actually deep rejection and deep sort of closure where
Hey,
you have suffered.
have you worked on that trauma? Because I want to go through what everybody else has said
Mm,
here, but I would say I would do some trauma work on yourself just to, I would do a thing where I would say, I'm going to do a big trauma piece and I
mhm.
would write out all of these traumas, like, the loss of your home and having to stay in the office and all of this stuff. And you can always add in when you're creating your own pieces, which you're going to be going out and doing, you're going to be bringing in your creativity and working with what is, even within your own consciousness, is always add in and anything else. So I'm working on a big trauma release for myself and anything else that the teams deem, because you might forget some bits, but the teams won't. So I would do that. Let me just, I just want to check in with everybody else.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, Sylvia, so you feel your eyesight has kind of shifted? Yes. Nice. Okay. Scott, you're really feeling it. It gives a great boost, right? Go ahead and speak if you guys want to. So, Angela, 8,000, great. Okay, so Debbie, you're feeling shaky now. Are you still feeling shaky? Or has it calmed down?
No, I still feel shaky. It's like a buzz almost, but you feel sort of, yeah, it's hard to explain it.
Yeah, I felt buzzy for like a good half hour, like totally, totally buzzing, but it was like a very kind of nice buzz.
Like
So
an
you're not,
excitement buzz.
Yeah, so you're not feeling shaky, like unsettled.
No.
Okay.
Like something's happening, buzz.
Okay. And you might be calibrating, and your calibration might just be a different scale. We know that we all calibrate at different scales. So your 1,000 could correspond to someone else's.
Well, I
9,000.
stopped at that.
Oh, you stopped. Okay, right.
I stopped at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 10,000 and still going. 90% boost. Great, General. Cleona, 1,000, very strong. First into the heart pain. Feel very uplifted and quite dazed. Yeah, it's a strong one. I mean, if you think of all these gifts that are latent gifts for us that we just hadn't taken on because maybe the pathways weren't open. So please just check and see if your pathways to receiving are now open. Your pathways to receiving your multidimensional gifts are open. Because actually I didn't put that command in. Now it should be, but if for any reason they're not, I would put that command in. Pathways open for everybody to receiving gifts, future gifts as well. Okay, so that's good. Now, I just want you to notice something. In my, when I write these things, I say, please anchor into the whole of my multidimensional matrix in triple aspects. But when you're doing something as kind of powerful as this, you want to just go through it. So I went through all the levels one by one. That allowed you to feel it more. So I don't write out the whole sort of go through this, go through the inner earth level, the subatomic level, I don't write that out. You will feel into whether you want to just do it quickly. With this one, you probably want to go into the detail. It just allows the client to feel more, but you just see how you go. If you're squeezing this in at the end of a session and you just don't have another 10 minutes to go through all the things, it will still work if you just say the whole multidimensional matrix and triple aspects. They will have more of an experiential hit if you take them through the levels. So and sometimes to take them through the levels on every piece just gets a little bit long-winded and a bit redundant. So you just kind of pick and choose instinctively, just always trusting yourself. Okay, I'm going to go through the whole thing. So it is good to learn it by heart, just so you can run through it. Or if you don't learn it by heart, you could make a laminate or just a sheet where you have it there and it's just there. It's like, I think I'm going to go through the detail, and then you can just read through the whole detail of it. And the two things that we let go of when we're bringing in high frequency is we let go of old personalities and old identities that can't hold or support the high frequency, and old inner archetypes that can't hold or support this high frequency. So it's a good opportunity to get you have this old identity of being like a loser. Well, now's the time to get rid of that, because we're bringing in all these gifts and all this high frequency stuff. So that's a good time to clear out those old identities. So you just throw those things in, basically. It's just practice, and you will intuitively, even Cleona and Pete, you guys have reported back about different sessions. Well, many of you have reported back about different sessions where you've brought in things because just intuitively, Cleona was like, oh, and I had to clear the entities. And I read that, I was like, yeah, brilliant. You could put the entity release in every full matrix. So the full matrix is a framework for you. But you are free to, if you've got something that you work with, like Pete, you often work with the pain body. So you could add in just one little correction around the pain body. Or people who work, or Cleona works with entities, so she could add in the entities. Or if you guys resonate with that, you can pop that in. So next week, I'm going to talk a lot about our framework of reality and how we all see reality differently, and we bring in different stuff. So everybody's work is different. And what I've offered you here is a framework in which to explore consciousness, but you bring in your special sauce, you bring in your special magic and add it to the thing. So what you do is is always going to be your own thing, because you bring in your own perception of reality and your own specialty bits and stuff. So the work, even though we've all learned the same thing together, the work that Pete does is going to be really different from what Cleona does, because you are oriented differently and your consciousness perceives reality differently. So, which is the beauty of it. It's not one size fits all. It's just there to support you to do you, really. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, and I would just add to that that we're also, different people call us in, and so it's also linked to that, and so I do think that there's a great, wisdom in the clients that call us, and they call to the right people who are working with the right things for them. So there is a kind of multidimensional matrix up there where the right practitioner is being called in for the right thing, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I haven't put any more pieces in, so we don't often have time to kind of like share, but I'd love to know how you guys got on with your pops, or any other questions. Russia?
Well, a few things to say.
Okay.
Okay. I have been, since session 2 of our course, I have been troubled by something.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, I haven't sat down to figure it out. Okay. That's one piece. Last week, I really got triggered by your language,
Oh,
which was about magic and miracles. And what I heard in my head was, that's for them, Marsh. It's not for you.
oh,
Yeah.
ooh.
So I procrastinated all week, started very late last night. And what really helped, Angela, your word, trust. Well, you know what? I hit that last night. And I finished like 3 pops this morning on trust, and listen to what I got. I commit fully to staying on earth and enjoying a grounded and abundant life. I have never committed. I've never committed to staying. Had a
Wow.
good cry. Everything went, wow. And I'm totally connected to the core crystal of the earth, which is what I've been searching for since the beginning. I'm like, okay, what else? What else is there? I'm ready. I'm just, the relief is, well, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm here. I'm staying. I'm going to have a great time. How about that
Wow.
one?
Wow, that's huge.
It's huge. Yeah. I'm tired again, but
Wow.
happy. And when Pete was talking about, when you were talking about being here, Pete, I wondered, and yeah, you're looking at a happy bunny. Yeah. Yeah. So I
Wow.
will continue with the pops.
Whoa.
Hmm.
The pops, a lot of discovery in the pops, right?
Amazing. Amazing. And what's interesting is with that realization, kind of deep contentment, everything else seems easy now. It's like, yeah, let's go handle the rest. Let's see what's in there. Oh, that could be fun. Oh, and I also think the magic will start, the magical thinking, the words will come. I think so, because it was just phenomenal. Thank you.
Oh, amazing. Actually, the piece we're going to do next week, if there aren't magic and miracles within your paradigm, there will be next week, because that was what we're going to work on. So expanding our paradigm. So
Yeah.
they might already be there now. So it's awesome. Thank you, hon. Thank you really for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you all. And the groan from Angela and Sylvia in the cartoon, who said, "Yeah, I can understand." It was about being here, being on the earth, and I thought, boy, do I echo that. They feel it. Yeah, they should help me. You too, help me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This group is super beautiful. You guys are really showing up a lot, and you're really, when you share everything that you share, it helps so much to helps the whole group, to inspire them and me. And you know, it's like, oh yes, this is what they need. Okay, now I understand. So it's really an amazing group. I think you guys are incredible. And super talented. But so who else pops? Any I know you did 22, but I'm going to check in with everybody else, because you've updated us a wee bit and I would like to hear about it, but I just want to check in if anyone else.
I could just say one tiny thing. All I would like to say is that my last pop was on trust, and I just want to say that to
Oh,
Marcia.
wow.
And in the center was the central bubble was all shall be well.
yeah. Yeah.
So who else did a pop? Any feedback on your pop? Okay, Sylvia.
I just wonder, because Pete mentioned the last one. I had finished mine, and then for 3 days there was nothing, and then 3 more needed to be done. And the last one, I think, is for Marcia as well. Life is meant for living.
Mm,
Mm. Mm.
And it doesn't have to take time, was the one before.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
mm.
Wow.
It's quite amazing what pops out of our consciousness when you fill those bubbles, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Christian, did you guys do a pop?
Yes, in the weekend we did.
How did it go?
First it was a bit of searching, because the mind was coming in too much, but then we found the right direction, and the result will, I think it will be good.
Yeah.
Because it gives trust to learn to work with it.
Mm. Yeah. Does take a little bit more time and energy than just a clearing necessarily, but
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
and like somebody said, maybe was it Pete or somebody said it was really tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get quite foggy brained after, like, you know, I do a few, like when I did the 19 for anxiety, it took me about 3 weeks to do it, you know, and I would do about 5 and I'd get really like, I need to take a nap now, you know. And it can take, and it's not, the results are not necessarily overnight, but you know, with the anxiety, when the anxiety wasn't there, you don't kind of notice it. And then until one day you go, hold on, I have not woken up with that sort of, "Oh," I haven't done that in ages. So sometimes when the challenges disappear, you don't notice the shift, isn't it? Because you're just living life. And but yeah. Anyone else?
I did one. I mean, I did 7 around the area of money, and I have noticed a shift in the outer world. I mean, I don't know if it's because it's tourist season now, but this didn't happen last year. But I've got, you know, had 2 more clients this week who just kind of showed up. And this man, I had a bit of a problem. I did a massage for someone, and the man, it was in the Airbnb, and the client was injured and he couldn't get on the massage table, so we did it on the bed. And the man who owned the Airbnb got angry and had a bit of a hoo-ha. And that's completely turned around. I did some alchemy on the situation and sent him some Ho'oponoponos and things. And now he's invited me to give massages to all of his clients that come to the Airbnb.
All right.
Yeah, and I got headhunted by this group that do counseling, but it turned out it wasn't quite. They're only looking for people in America, but I mean, these things are kind of like, it feels like stuff is really shifting out there in my finances. So I think the pop's really had a good effect, and it continues, I guess, you know, will continue. So yeah. Anything else I want to say about that? I really love the work. I mean, I really enjoying it so much. Like this, especially this full matrix release today was amazing with this client, and I really, and the one who I did the psychic surgery with, she noticed a shift and she did receive pain relief from it. So that from during a massage, this is doing a massage. I just kind of, we calibrated and set it all up beforehand, and they told me anyway that we're going to do that during it, and then they did. It's not finished yet, so she's going to come back for another one, but it's great to see these tangible results. Thank you, Dominique.
Amazing. Pete, do you want to talk about the case that you shared with me, or are you maybe not ready to talk about that yet because you're still in process with that client that you mentioned? You know which one I mean, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, no, it's really interesting because I mean, I've been working with client's horse. I mean, this horse has bitten people. She has a reputation and has caused a lot of angst, and then the client has been very much she's not had the relationship with this horse that she wanted to have. And so, I mean, we've been working over a year now, just little by little, working on different sort of levels. And a couple of sessions ago, I was, working, I mean, with various, sort of with kinesiology, with various different sort of modalities. And I was working with tuning forks, and at one point, I mean, I was also just mentioned to the horse's owner the work that we've been doing here. And the craziest thing is, and I mean, this is a horse you can lose your fingers to. We always joke about it. My client jokes about it, and basically, you could quite easily lose your fingers. So, it's a sort of situation of hypervigilance. But the horse came towards me and she just sort of like listened when I was describing the ancestral and past life work that I'd been doing. I mean, it was one of these huge, multi-dimensional clearings that I'd been doing through our work. And I said I mean, she was just listening. She was just absorbing the whole thing. So I said afterwards at the end of the session to the client, I said, look, I've been doing this work. And I mean, I've obviously been doing this on myself, but I really have a feeling that this could be relevant to your horse. I mean, this is stuff that is completely, I mean, totally out there with respect to my client. I mean, already what I do is quite far out. But she's been amazing because she has really stayed with the process, and her horse has been making, you know, these shifts. Anyway, I said, look, you know, I'd be, you know, very happy to propose a session at distance to work and develop this, because I think your horse is interested. And she said, I was going to say the same thing to you. She said, I was completely bluffed by how the horse had changed in her, you know, when you were describing this work. It was interesting because the month that followed was just completely crazy. When I saw the horse the next time, she was quite grumpy, and I knew instantly that what she was saying was, listen, mate, you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it. Anyway, I kept that for myself, and I said, look, I did say, you know, that we would do this work, this other work, and I just booked an appointment at distance for the next week, and then I did the work. I did a complete multi-dimensional matrix healing or clearing. I mean, I worked through the core traumas which I adapted for horses, and I did the root clearing. So, and I mean, this was a huge piece of work because I went through the whole thing, all the sort of, you know, the victim, the perpetrator, the whole lot. And I went through it 3 times. I checked, I mean, after a couple of days, I then checked after 10 days, I then checked again after another week. So, I mean, everything had held apart from part of the root clearing, which had shifted. So I you know, worked on that again. And when I went to see this horse at the weekend, it was really interesting because I'd sent the client the full notes, and we went through. She asked me about various things, and it was just so clear how her horse had shifted. And there were 1 or 2 techniques that I'd been using that were basically no longer relevant. And I mean, that was so noticeable because these had been techniques that I'd been using with her that had been relevant right the way through, been working for over a year. The number of shifts, and I mean, I could feel that she was in a very different place. Her eyes were softer. She had just sort of given up, just like a lot of the sort of hypertension that she could incarnate. And it was really amazing. It was very interesting because I know that when my client looked at the notes, I mean, I try and be as kind of transparent, as honest about things. Some things you talk about galactic, talk about DNA, talk about different sort of levels. It can be, you know, it can be quite strange for some people. And at the same time, I don't want to mystify. I want to be completely transparent about what I do. So it's like trying to feel into that. But she was just amazed by the shifts in her horse, and I just felt that it was just such a huge piece, you know, and really, really beautiful. And also, I mean, taking this stuff out to people who is not, you know, who are not necessarily in all these kind of energies and who are not habituated to this kind of approach. There's a real art to being able to take this out in a way which is gentle, which enables them to, you know, move with this and also to sort of follow. And so, I mean, I have incredible gratitude to her for allowing this to happen, because a lot of people would just say, look, sorry, mate, but you are completely way off here. And it's really lovely to, you know, to see how this horse is, you know, her owner is beginning to have the relationship that she wanted with her horse, that she could never have. And that is, you know, is just really, really beautiful. You know, these animals are such spiritual beings, and
Oh,
oh,
which reminds me, because Scott did it on the land as well.
mhm.
So we've got you doing it on the animals, and you doing your work, Cleona, with this, adding all your stuff, and you're working with the body. And then Scott, you did it on the land. So it's quite fascinating how you guys are expanding on it. Thank you, Pete. Thank you for that. It's incredible. How's everybody doing? Does anybody want to share anything? Scott?
So I've not managed to get in to do any pops yet.
Okay.
I've been exhausted all week. There was a demon that was trying to get in,
Oh.
telling me it was Archangel Michael.
Hmm.
But then when they were like, let me in, why aren't you letting me in? I was like, hold on a minute. It's a bit too pushy for me. What's going on? So they gave me their name and I had a chat, and they were then pushing me to take actions on things that were not for my highest good. So I asked them why. And they said to show you what is for your highest good.
Mm.
So instead of just outright going, no, go away, I had the conversation. I asked, I said, thank you. I said, I love you for what you're trying to show me, but you're not needed here. And they've gone. But it's taken the week of dipping in and out of the conversations to release. Because I've found in the past, if I have that kind of conversation, they go and they don't come back. Whereas if I just say go away, then every now and then they've tried to nip back in again. But yeah, it's been an exhausting week because it's been quite a lot of pressure coming in to try. So yeah, weird, very strange week. Very strange week. I felt good, but I've also felt very heavy. That's why I think today stuff, like I said, it was like a weight jacket being lifted off. I just felt content and at peace and in myself after today's process, rather than buzzy and excited. I just felt relaxed and like, that's gone. So there's some gifts that came through today, allowed me to just clear out, and I've just tested and I've cleared out the final residual remnants of what came through. Very strange.
But that's an amazing insight, because if I get interference, I just don't want to deal with it at all. I just want to get rid of it. And actually, you stood up to it. And I have a girlfriend who does planetary work, and she says, I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of the interference. I'll just sort of look at them straight in the eye, kind of thing. And I personally think, like in Israel, there's a lot of interference going on there, a lot of sort of dark energies.
Yeah.
But usually I just can't. So I think you've given us kind of a really good key there about standing up, like just standing in your power, and possibly the correction we did at the start of just standing in your truth or your power and alignment. I'm not saying that that helped you. You came to your conclusion on your own, but that might help us, well, me, for example, to stand up to the entities, because when I get entities, I really can't stand it, you know.
And I just tested 4 pops, and I've now got a list to go through. So the blockages that were stopping me from getting to what I needed to get to have now been removed, so I can now go in and start doing them this week. So
Right.
Fun old week.
Wow. Okay, well, so okay, just to let you know, I did a little inquiry about you guys asking about the anti-aging and beauty work, and what's come up is that in September to do 3 4-hour sessions. So as I get through the move and get a little clearer, maybe on a Sunday, maybe at a time that is not so late, you know, like maybe a Sunday at 2 o'clock, which is kind of not so late, for kind of more in the middle of the day. So for anybody who's wanting to A, we would do the work on ourselves, and B, you would get the technology to go and do it with other people. So there's that. And October, November, I will offer, if there's a demand for it, a level 2, where we'll do other stuff. And I'll be sending you some of the kind of stuff that we would do, but it would be like the vaccine clearing protocol, working with Earth and star grids, working with the Cosmic Womb and Celestial Temple. So these are big technologies. And I mean, you know, I've got just so much material. So how I kind of work with you guys is just, I know that I set out, oh, I'll do this, but then when I'm actually with you, new pieces come through for the group, or I get a sense of what needs to be done. So it's always a little bit intuitive because it's just a living thing. It has to be. So I can, yeah, you guys can tell me what you're interested in and I can respond to that. So anyway, that's what will be available if there's a demand for it. And what else? Yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Unless anybody has anything. Next week, we're going to expand our framework of reality because, yeah, I had a massive download in the middle of the night. And to be honest, this has been percolating for 6 months. If you have a very big framework of reality, your work is going to be much more powerful. And if you have a smaller framework of reality, you're going to attract clients who resonate with that smaller framework. But the results are going to be less, you know, magic and miracles because, you know, so we're going to expand our framework of reality, and it's going to be good for all of us to just expand to, well, to be able to expect better results from the beauty stuff or the rejuvenation stuff or the money stuff. Just what we want is results, really, is we want to use our consciousness with more effect. Yeah, Angela.
Yeah, it's just back on the POPs thing. As you all know, I did this like 18 POPs for the multi-pop of home. So it's like massive kind of thing on different levels about what home is. But prior to that, I mean, that I got that guidance that I should do the multi-pop about the home. But as it's such a big theme, and it has been previously, I didn't do a matrix of release first, because I remember you were saying with something that's kind of like a big thing, you should do the releasing first. So I don't know, maybe it was that I didn't need to do that it was ready to kind of pop. I mean, ready to do all these things. No, I didn't really test that, but I just wondered about that, about things that, I mean, maybe I can just test that. Like, for example,
always
to do multi-pop, it could be a theme, but do I need to first do other things with it?
Always test and then see if you can shortcut it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this week when I got into this massive trauma with these buyers who wanted to move the date a week earlier, and I went in and my lawyer was totally traumatized because she felt she was responsible and she'd have to pay all the extra monies because it would have cost like, I don't know, $1,500 just to move my stuff twice and store it, and where was I going to stay? And it was just like, what a trauma field. So I did the matrix release, and then they changed the time back to the original time.
You did the matrix release on the situation?
On the situation. So if you get into a really trauma, and you know, usually I get into these trauma situations, I'm too traumatized to really think I should do some work on it. And then I was like, I don't know, somebody prompted me or something I saw, maybe you guys wrote it, and I was like, oh, I should really do the matrix release on it. And I did it properly, and I tested everything, and the level of trauma was through the roof. And, you know, so it was like, oh, clear that. And then everything calmed down. And now it's all restructured itself to be even better, where it's back on the original date and I don't even have to see them throughout the whole process at all. Whereas before they were like coming to do an inspection at 8 in the morning while my movers were there. And it was like, this is hell. So yeah.
Interesting. The other quick thing was about the reversals. I don't know, I remember you saying that you tested reversals for specific things, like Hollywood was 70% in reversal. Yeah. You know, and I can understand why that would be. So I mean, okay, we're not going to test it on a person, but could one test it on the situation that you have with a particular person.
Absolutely, because the situation you have with a person is one of your externals.
Yeah, so you get the reversals for that to see what that is, or a particular project, like say you don't want to do it about, you know, like say this person that wants to work with me on such and such. You know, you can get all muddled up because you get emotions involved, like should I do it, should I shouldn't, should I not, I wanted it because of this, but then there's this, you know. So would I perhaps test the positive frequency of doing that project, or
Totally.
the reversals? What are the, you know, is there reversals with this particular company, or
Yeah, all of that
all
you
of
can.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. The more you test and the more you explore, what I was thinking today was that certain challenges are really there to teach us something, especially when we work. Well, I mean, you know, that it's so obvious, isn't it, really? But these challenges that are kind of like, oh, you know, like this whole thing with the sale of the house, it just feels like a dark cloud. And yet, when we work with the energetics, it teaches us like this, we will learn more about energetic stuff, more understanding about the hidden energetics will reveal themselves, because we calibrate and we go, oh, well, look, there's all this level of trauma in there. Or so when we explore the underneath of it, it all becomes like evident why the situation is why it is. And then when we clear it and it shifts, you go, well, okay, it was just this energetic mess. Now I've cleared that. Everything is back to fine, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So next week, the plan is to expand all of our containers of reality, our framework of reality, and then to look at the pieces. I'm going to teach you how to expand on pieces, how to make your own pieces, how to kind of put it all together, really. So if you have any questions, and I'll do some testing for some other pieces as well. But it'll be kind of like we start to consolidate all the work, because we've learned all these bits, and how do we sort of consolidate it to make it kind of flow nicely and practically. So that's what we'll do. And then on the last day, we'll really maybe all have a collective share and Q&A, and I don't know. We'll just see when we get there for the last day. Maybe there'll be some more pieces to do. We'll see. And also, I'm going to take you on a journey to kind of integrate the work, and also sort of expand on it, and really make the work melt into who you are, so that it's really just you being expressed. So yeah, like that. And if there's anything you need, or you know, anyway, you usually put your ideas up there, and those ideas trigger things for me. So we'll see what else, if there's something that you know, want or need.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thanks
So
a bunch.
I will send you the renewed piece with that extra sentence, the gifts, and I will send the video out tonight.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye. all.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys.
Bye.